officially kick off the Big Brain Bouts number 31, and it's a very special edition, my nerds, because for the first time in a very long time, I am not alone. I am joined by the Grub herself, who has found her way to the mansion in Zuidland. How we doing, ZombieGrub?
It's good, man. I'm trying to figure out this webcam, but you know what? It's fine. It's beautiful. This place is beautiful.
How's the stay in the Netherlands been so far?
It's actually been excellent. If you've dropped on my stream in the last couple of days, I've kind of raved about all the fun things I've been doing. So yesterday I went to a fancy restaurant and got a 6-course meal with wine. And then I went to the museum and I saw a bunch of Rembrandts and Girl with the Pearl Earring, which if you don't know anything about art, it doesn't mean anything to you, but trust me, it was really fancy and really cool. And then I walked back 40 minutes in the rain. It was awesome.
All right. And how familiar are you with the Big Brain Bouts?
I mean, I watch the games, but I don't watch the production, I suppose, like the in-between stuff. It's on my second monitor every Friday, so I watch.
So the idea is very simple. Every single Friday, Basilisk is kind enough to offer a prize pool of $500, and I can decide who gets to play for that. And the idea is always just to get some close matches. So basically, the one thing that we don't want to see are 3Ls. If we have 3Ls, I've done a bad job in matchmaking. But kind of consider me the StarCraft 2 version of Dana White. I look at some nerds, I'm like, hey, that would be a fun matchup, or that would be a fun matchup. Then we are going to do that. We try to give everyone a chance, so we don't roll with the same players each and every single week. Today, we've got a few guys making their debut. And yeah, I kind of feel like we've got 4 pretty exciting best of 5s. I don't know too much about the first 2 guys, but we're just going to see how it all plays out.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because obviously I do expect to come into a lot of matches with Roddy and kind of be the one that knows, less to a lot less sometimes. But I'm excited to cast a couple of people that I'm not really familiar with. As you said, I think the important thing is that it's evenly matched, and then it could be any league against any league, right? Some of the most fun games I've cast are like subscriber replays, as long as they're really close.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of the idea. And the cool thing about all of this as well is that obviously, like, the first 2 players, for instance, saVer and BeNeFiT. saVer, I know a little bit from the ladder. BeNeFiT, I don't know that much about at all. But it's really cool for them that they get to play for $75 because you've been around for a long time. You know how hard it is to win prize money in StarCraft. So it's a really cool, unique opportunity for some of the 5K players to play a best of 5 that matters with people watching. And I honestly feel most of the time we have a great time on the Friday. I can't really think of many Fridays that weren't good. I'm going to let the nerds know that we are ready. I know some of you guys are still saying that ZombieGrub is a bit quiet, but I can't fix that, guys, because I have her at 200% right now. So the only thing that we can maybe do is increase the gain a little bit on your side.
Yeah, I do have a gain that I can increase, so tell me when to stop. I'm going to talk and slowly move it up, and then maybe it's going to get too loud, and then maybe...
I think this is good. I think this is very good. All right, so now I think we're good to go. And that means you're in the game as well, right, by the way?
I did. I joined.
All right, and that's the one thing I didn't check. I had a little panic attack there. Then let's do this. Actually, I need to do one little thing. I was not ready for this because I was just busy laddering. We always disable the alert, and we disable the chat, because we don't want too many distractions. And we can also do the Big Brain Bouts overlay and remove the single cam. So now we are officially totally 100% good to go. Let's get it on, guys. Big Brain Bouts number 31. Another night where we give away $500 to a couple of lovely pro gamers. And in the opening match, we've got a PvP between Europe and America. So I know who you're choosing. I know who I'm choosing, ZombieGrub. This is perfect. $75 on the line. Winner gets $60. Loser gets 15. Let's have some fun. In the bottom right side, we're looking at the main base of the American Protoss that I don't think I've ever casted before. This is Storm Gaming's BeNeFiT.
And in the top left, we have the red Protoss saVer.
And obviously, ZombieGrub, the Big Brain Bouts is all about fun, so we don't need to treat this like it's IM Katowice semi-final, grand final. We're just gonna have a good time. If you see funny stuff, call it out. If you feel that Roddy should be your butler for the night and should come upstairs and bring you a drink, feel free to order me to do so.
Ooh, okay, that's fine living. Like, I haven't gotten the butler service yet. I've been given this great apartment, and even a little bit of food, some drinks you guys left me, really appreciate. You gave me a card so I can actually access the transportation, and I was like, this is pretty fine living. This is pretty nice. And now I could possibly have a butler? Ooh, it doesn't get any better.
I have no idea actually what happened on the other side of the map here, as saVer cancelled one of his gateways. After he scouted that BeNeFiT went for the max pack setup, the low ground pylon, low ground gateway. I have to admit, I always think it's a little bit ambitious when Protoss is around 5-1, 5-2, start going for one gate fast expanse on the low ground. But I'm not judging, right? I don't hate if he's confident with it. But it seems that saVer just wants to get a 4-gate going or something. Or proxy Stargate, apparently. Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, saw what was going on, which is great, and then went for the 1 gate, which, of course, is something that we also BeNeFiT scouting, sending a Zealot across the map, by the way. And then proxy Stargates coming down. So, I mean, a second gateway did come down for saVer afterwards. I don't know if this is going to turn into something actually more aggressive, but, you know, to catch up on that faster Nexus, the Oracle is certainly bound to do some work, which is not going to be difficult because, well, they do have BeNeFiT also going for a Stargate.
Yeah, at this point I want to say that I kind of like it for BeNeFiT, but I've also learned that especially in the first series of the night, it's hard to make predictions because these guys obviously are not going to play it out in a perfect manner like the men on the couch would do. Some of the people in the chat are wondering, who's on the couch, Roddy? Well, that's the fine Canadian Protoss from BASILISK, that is Trigger, who is staying over at my place for 10 days, and then we make the journey all together. We're going to have a party event, ZombieGrub, from the Netherlands to Krefeld.
Yeah, we are. And a party in Krefeld, of course.
Well, the Adept shaded into the main base, got surrounded immediately. Obviously gets a bit of a scout, but there wasn't too much to see. But as long as BeNeFiT gets this shield battery in the main base, I want to say he should be fine. That was kind of a close call, but it is good enough. So far, so good for the American.
Yeah, okay, so, I mean, BeNeFiT grabbing a Void Ray, very limited information until this Oracle entered in, but good that he played a very cautious style with the shield battery. It worked out perfectly. But now the Void Ray does look, I guess, a little bit odd, because we aren't really getting a lot of aggression, like game-ending type of aggression from saVer, who does eventually add on that Nexus, but again, is it going to be too late? The Oracle certainly not so far doing enough damage, and maybe they'll get better with 2, but I mean, the Void Ray is now here to help out. Can't chase the Oracles too well, but it can stay in one place and kill them pretty fast.
I thought that was a pretty odd recall, by the way. Like, I know maybe first game in the best of 5, money on the line, we get a bit nervous, but there really was no need to recall that Oracle. There was one Stalker chilling in the main base, but in the end the recalled Oracle does sync up with Oracle number 2, and this really is where the German needs to find some damage. And, 2 probes is not exactly, I think, what he was hoping for. Once again, more, but he's getting greedy right now. Stalkers need one more shot to kill it. Honestly, I still think it's alright for BeNeFiT, but obviously he needs to stop losing probes now.
Yeah, for sure. Unfortunately, that Void Ray, I guess, kind of chose the very high-risk, high-reward location instead of just over the probes, I suppose. So, of course, when you pop that overcharge, it gets, prismatic alignment, excuse me, it gets very, very slow. But that could have been way worse with that little bit of misposition. And now the game continues on with that Nexus finishing up for saVer. What are the probe counts? Actually very similar, but I think if we checked the income graph, and I don't actually have the correct overlay, and my keyboard's in Japanese.
What?
So, I don't know if I can check the income graph.
Why is it in Japanese?
Because Trigger was learning katakana, Japanese language. You can use the keyboard, you can put the
You figured that out before I did. He has not told me anything about it. He should have told me. I opened Japanese Pokemon cards this morning. He could have translated the names that I forgot.
Well, he did end with he gave up, so.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know.
Well, 5 minutes in, guys. It seems that I've done an alrighty job matching these two nerds up against one another. It was supposed to be a different matchup first, but BeNeFiT said, Roddy, I'm a 5-point-something-K Protoss. I really want to play for a while, and this is the final week that I can play. And I said, alright, then I'll see what I can do. And I replaced another Protoss that I originally had scheduled to play saVer with BeNeFiT. Because he does take a little more damage right now from these two Oracles. But I do kind of feel that these two are a good match for one another.
It does seem that way. In fact, now we do have saVer at least higher up in that supply. I gotta say, playing with the, or casting with the default overlay is really screwing me up. I feel like I'm supposed to be playing right now, and that's absolutely not the case. But yeah, third Nexus though. Once again, faster Nexus on the side of BeNeFiT. Kind of feels like there's a, you know, certainly some confidence in this guy's PvP to start off the game with that low ground expansion, but then kind of taking control of the wheel here with the faster third as well.
saVer is going for an Immortal, which obviously I don't hate at this point, because BeNeFiT is basically mostly working with Stalkers, has only had Link Does not seem to be working on charge as these two oracles from the early game show up one more time. And I gotta give kudos to saVer, man. Oracles are not very easy units to get good with. I've been trying for a very long time, but it's really hard to keep these things alive because, I don't know, I always get greedy. I guess that's my biggest flaw with the oracle. I'm like, just one more probe, and I always end up losing it. But he's actually done a great job. Has now killed 12 probes throughout the game, and both oracles still alive.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Meaning that it is in fact the red Protoss that has a slight probe lead, but I'm not so much interested in the probe lead as I am all of these gateways building on up here. Stasis Trap is blocking the potential third and also, you know, scouting if there's even an attempt on it, but with charge finishing up all the gateways as well and a proxy gateway, I think we know what's coming.
Yeah, but good catch though, showing up with the slow warp in still and actually killing one of these oracles is going to unpower the proxy gate. What a catch for BeNeFiT here. I actually don't think that the Void Ray really needs to stop fighting there. Could have killed at least one Stalker, maybe even two, but now this kind of feels that saVer's attack is really going to lack that punch, right? The reinforcements of all those extra zealots showing up, it's ultra painful for him, and yeah, it seems like he's going to give up on it altogether. And he's going to try to make a comeback by taking the base in the center of the map with the rich Vespian guys, and now we're video gaming.
Yeah, now we absolutely are. It's very interesting. I really don't know how much of a comeback maneuver I suppose that really is. You know, if it's a gold base, I really have a lot of faith, but, you know, actually getting the Rich Vespian geyser up, and then I suppose how often and how quickly can you get to those Archons, and then when you get to them, okay, you can build quite a few, and that's nice, but obviously the problem is that we do have 3 bases for BeNeFiT so consistently, now transferring those probes, now properly defended too, because that was a little concerning. It's a good thing he found the proxy gateway when he did, because the shield battery was not done.
It's going to be tough. And also, I just kind of feel that Zealots fall off a little bit if the Stalker army gets big. It's really funny because we all think like, oh, Zealots are amazing against Stalkers. And that is until the Stalker ball gets very big, and especially if they just turtle near batteries. The Zealots actually have a very hard time making the difference against Stalkers. So this kind of feels that BeNeFiT has survived the scary phase and should really be able to just increase the lead that he was already working with. As we have a couple of adepts, sniping off a few more probes. Momentum has definitely swung in favor of the American, and I kind of feel that he should have the kind of army to end it in the next minute. The only thing that makes me a bit sad is that he didn't start +2, because his +1 was damn quick.
Yeah, +2 could already be on the way, and perhaps maybe not timing out exactly with a push, but, you know, pretty close to it. Unfortunately, at this point, might just be prioritizing different things, right? But yeah, maybe that would have been first, and then the Templar Archives would have been a little bit cleaner. But he is getting to that nice composition with the Archons coming in for him. We did already have saVer get up to those Archons, and that's where Rich Vespian Gas, you know, didn't have to make as many probes and is already benefiting from that. I could definitely see a comeback. It's hard to break these Protoss when they got the shield battery and the high ground. Perhaps a direct attack through the middle would be a little bit difficult for BeNeFiT to do.
Yeah, it's actually very hard to say where this is going to go. Also wondering if either of these guys is very comfortable going into double Robo Disruptor. That's often, like, we can say it's the right choice, but we often say as well that it's a lot better to play the style that you're comfortable and good with than playing the style that you're supposed to do according to pro gamers or casters or other high-level players. Like, if you suck with Disruptors, it's kind of pointless to go into Disruptors in a match you really want to win. So I have no idea if we're actually going to see that out of these guys.
That's why if I ever get to late game Zerg versus Protoss, I just throw all my army. I'm just like, well, you could have made Vipers. I'm like, oh, could I though? I don't know. But no, it's tough. I think you're making a good point, though. We might actually see that kind of become more obvious as the specified continues, right? Where their actual comfort zones are. I would not be surprised if BeNeFiT with that expansion first kind of even threw saVer off a little bit, but we have reached a point with relative evenness going on here, and it's actually going to be saVer the one who's going to move out. Hitting before that +2 means the upgrades are even. Plenty more Archons for the Red Protoss as well. BeNeFiT's on kind of an awkward composition here.
Yep, BeNeFiT does have a little Zealot attack on the other side of the map. He's going to give up on his Immortal. That Void Ray is going to fall as well, but with a battery overcharge there, saVer does not have the kind of army that can easily kill that battery. That's just impossible. So I think he very wisely disengages. Maybe this was a moment to go towards the third base. You can really see he's thinking about it. It's kind of missing a War Prison with this attack. I just feel like with some slightly quicker reinforcements, this would be terrifying. But it's still terrifying because, yeah, these Archons, they may not be great against Stalkers, but they're obviously very good in soaking up volley after volley. BeNeFiT is going to try to do whatever he can. War Prism does show up. War Prism seems to be safe for now. And it actually seems that it's the German in the end that will still take the 1-0 lead after some good Oracle play in the mid game. And it is that rich Vespene geyser after all with all these Archons that was perhaps the key to victory.
Hey man, it worked out. It did feel like, you know, he had a stronger grasp of moving on in the PvP, where we did have, you know, the American here. We did have BeNeFiT kind of stuck on that Stalker composition, which I think can be quite good, as you were saying, against those Archons. But you have to be so active with them, right? Like, you have to be the really one that's in charge and see them coming across the map and start picking those units off. And then that's also usually to buy time for your own stronger, let's say, simpler units, such as Archons and Charge Lots, and kind of getting almost caught by surprise with your back up against a wall with pure Stalkers. That's just not really how you want to play out that later stage of the mid game.
And it also felt that, like, obviously, if we don't want to be too critical of the 5.1, 5.2k guys, but if you have that many Blink Stalkers and your opponent doesn't have Blink, like, there is always potential, right? Like, Stalkers can be a nightmare to deal with if you don't have anything that's super mobile yourself. If you don't have Blink Stalkers, you don't have Phoenix, it's supposed to be really annoying to play against Stalkers, and saVer just kind of got away with the fact that, let's make an Immortal, let's make a couple Zealots, take the base in the center of the map and take it from there.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I love saVer talking about how nervous StarCraft still makes him, and he's such an adult too. He's older than me at least. I actually don't know. I don't remember how old you are, Roddy.
I am the same age as saVer, apparently, yeah. Because what ZombieGrub is referring to, guys, is what saVer is writing in the chat. He says, 36, a 3-month-old baby, and I'm feeling nervous like a 12-year-old. Thanks, SC2. Yeah, that's, I think, something that a lot of us can relate to, and I still have that too. Like, even in some matches that are not even that important, as soon as it has, like, the label official, oh, I'm feeling it.
Yeah, exactly. I once, you're talking about how hard it is to make money, and obviously I've never really made money. I got second place in a Brood War LAN because I was like one of two people who knew how to play, and then maybe some other small thing. But I very distinctly remember playing a platinum tournament back in 2010 where the winner got a Masters League to train them for an hour. Never happened, man. Like, the false promises of esports just started on day one for me, dude. Imagine if I would have gotten it. I would have been GM, I would have been a pro gamer, life would have been totally different.
I've had a few of the broken promises as well. Let's see what happens in game 2 as we have successfully loaded into Royal Blood. Damn it, I was thinking to myself all game long, tell ZombieGrub to change your overlay. Tell ZombieGrub to change your overlay.
Oh, I did.
Yeah? Okay, you don't even need me, ZombieGrub. That's why we brought her on, guys. A strong, independent woman who doesn't need Roddy mansplaining on how to change an overlay. All right, let's hop into game 2. Bottom left side.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
No, we can do the intros. I forgot we were supposed to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to, but it's kind of a tradition.
It is, yeah.
Especially if I'm alone, it kind of takes away the first 40 seconds of a game, you know? Okay, I'll do it quickly. Bottom left side, we're looking at the main base of our German Protoss, taking the 1-0 lead after some great Oracle play. This is saVer.
And in the top right, we do have the red Protoss BeNeFiT.
What did you want to say, ZombieGrub?
I was just going to say, as soon as I load into a default overlay, I pop up that menu and I change it. So it's like, I'm not taking any chances trying to remember in between games. That's insane.
I've had that a few times as well, but it was really awkward in the early days of IEM, where I wasn't just a caster, but I was also the interviewer, the stage host, and obviously the dedicated observer. And if I would then load into a tournament and have like the wrong overlay, I'm like, oh my god. Like, now I have to apologize. Like, do I tell production crew to restart the game or not? I always gave me a minor panic attack, but most of the time I just rolled with it for one game.
Yeah. That's such a coincidence, too, because earlier we were doing some of that StarCraft history stuff that I do, and we literally saw the beginning of a 2013 series where they had the wrong overlay on, and they had to change it to the second game. So it still happens. It's been happening for a long time. But yeah, we once again have BeNeFiT going for the low ground expansion, not going to be deterred by the map kind of saying this isn't really supposed to be the way it goes.
Feels like he built a gateway there, canceled the gateway, and then built the Stargate in the correct position. Because I kind of felt that his gateway created 2 holes. What do you make of the response, by the way, of saVer? Like, I'm actually not that familiar with the... Okay, I've got the 2 gateway setup, but if I scout that my opponent wants to go 1 gate fast expand, I cancel a gateway and then I expand 2.
Yeah, this time he had to cancel it. It was a little more awkwardly timed, I suppose, or maybe the last time I just missed it.
No,
But
last game he cancelled it as well, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then yeah, though it's that's unfortunate. I feel like, well, as the game goes on, obviously maybe a slightly faster scout, so it's not as awkward. But obviously, it's not even really like the whole 40 whatever minerals you get from the canceled gateway. It is just the fact that you choose to do that. That is your response. I mean, I think it's fine. I think last game I was kind of not on board because the Nexus felt extraordinarily late with the whole proxy going on. But now I guess it does feel kind of clean. It does give you that information with the Oracle, and well, kind of puts you in that weird Stargate versus Stargate scenario. But that's what Protoss versus Protoss can be.
Since somebody in chat, my man Non-Imba, seems to be concerned about Trigger having his feet on the couch. There is no concern there. I told Trigger that he can live his best life here in the next 10 days. And he should do whatever the hell he does at home. As long as he doesn't wear shoes in the living room. Like, that's the only thing where I was like, take your shoes off. And that's about it. So if Trigger wants to put his feet on the couch, I told him to do it.
Roddy just trying to make sure everyone who visits the Netherlands is having an amazing time. Pretty good.
He seems pretty happy, I think. I mean, he's been farming max packs on the ladder, and that obviously puts everybody in a good mood.
Yeah, that's actually really impressive. I'm sure we'll be talking about that a little bit for Home Story Cup, because I assume I'm going to be roped into casting a couple of games.
Yeah. I think that the other guys would like to take a break, so yeah, if you want to be a volunteer, you, Ravi, I want to do a cast with you and Ravi.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Maybe after a couple of drinks?
Absolutely. All right, let's focus on game 2 a little bit, because I kind of lost track thinking about Trigger living his best life over here. We've got a few oracles flying around for saVer. We've got single oracle for BeNeFiT. We also have one Phoenix right now on the side of saVer. So it's a little bit all over the place, right? Not necessarily the setups that we see very often. Now, there's one Phoenix of our German. Excuse me, of our of a German is going to get on top of the Oracle of our American Protoss. Obviously was a bit of an underwhelming Oracle then, and now it's double Oracle in the main base as well. BeNeFiT, we lost a lot of probes last game. We gotta do a little bit better this time around, mate.
Yeah, unfortunately, going to start off with 4 probes lost. I suppose that's not the biggest loss, as the probe count remains relatively even. Oh, but there's the thing. I was going to say, hey, maybe the good news is the Oracles aren't bold enough to go into the natural, but there they go. So not only do they get more probes, but they also just scouted that Dark Shrine. Yeah,
very painful. They're actually using a slow pylon. This pylon a bit too far away from the Nexus to make this a fast warp in. So that obviously didn't help either. Sometimes you fly over a Dark Shrine, but you're not necessarily able to put 2 and 2 together. I don't see like the immediate robo, and even though both oracles are still alive and maybe saVer things, I've got plenty of detection. I'm not sweating those DTs. I still think it'd be worth to drop a robo.
Yeah, it's the safer call. You might be right. Perhaps not really thinking about the scout there as much as his heart's pounding and his arms are weak and all that good stuff. And he's like, oh, thank God, I got away with the probes. Or the oracles, and killed so many probes. The more the game goes on, the more I'm a little scared about that. But the oracles, should they just stay at home the entire time? Then that's, I think, him just saying, like, yeah, I think I can defend with oracles. And, well, there they go.
I don't think he has quite put it together, but he is going to at least see this, and now I think it's ultra obvious that these are DTs. He can actually just fly over these oracles and drop a revelation. Hello?
I don't think he's paying attention. He might have just A-clicked over there. You know, seeing as it was on the, I mean, the oracles will have revelations, so he just needs to cast them. There's only 2 DTs. 2 oracles, 2 DTs, beautiful, but they are going to get into that probe line, which is already a bit of a bummer, causing chaos, but actually, BeNeFiT assumes that the oracles are going to pay attention, so he just backs away. That's lovely.
Welcome to the first best of 5 of the night, ZombieGrub. Like, a lot of things don't often play out the way we expected, but that's obviously kind of what's cute and fun as well. Perhaps this was better for BeNeFiT than obviously the Oracle just flying over here, dropping a revelation, then both of the DTs would have died immediately. Now saVer is like, yeah, DT is pretty cool unit, and he's gonna build a Dark Shrine in the top left side. That could have played out in so many different ways, and in the end, just nothing happened.
Yeah, it's peculiar, but that does happen. I'd say for especially BeNeFiT's sake, seeing as the oracles look so properly positioned, like I would 100% assume they were ready to go. Where we were just kind of watching the lead up to it, and it was more of a question. The oracles are also dangerously close to dying, and a robo is still not down for saVer, so that absolutely would have been the trigger pull there. Fortunately, they are saved, they're recalled, and a robo is coming down, actually, too.
Wait, I feel like this is like the first time that he's really realized, like, you've got DTs? He's like, he's like, Robo, full wall of. Like, I really think this is the first time that saVer is truly putting it together. So even earlier with the warping and the DT running into the third and natural, and even getting a hit off, look at this reaction. Like, this is a reaction, ZombieGrub. Double Robo, wall off, double cannon. That's actually really funny. Those DTs were already there like 2 minutes ago.
That is actually really funny. I think you're absolutely right. Like the biggest tell I would say is that the wall off with the robo too, because I was like, why is he bothering to wall off? I mean, I guess it's not the worst thing, but
look at this, the 4 cannons. 4 cannons. All right. Well, the good news is for BeNeFiT that is obviously a very big defensive investment, and that should allow BeNeFiT to catch up a little bit, because he did take a minor beating from these oracles, and at least I want to say he finally got one, but he still didn't get one. I really want to give kudos to saVer for his oracle play so far. For a 5.2k Protoss, he has kept 2 oracles alive, way longer than I've done in 13 years of StarCraft.
yeah, he was a little adventurous with them. That's why they got the health drained, but he kept them alive. That's the most important thing. DTs did just kind of get revealed right there. I think they swiped once. Not sure if BeNeFiT was paying attention. He does have an observer, but he doesn't have those cannons littered around. So again, even if the DTs are known about, if they get into the mineral lines and they cause that chaos, they cause that probe damage, absolutely still worth it.
And it's the worst feeling ever when you're about to attack, and on that moment you realize that your base is under attack. BeNeFiT is just gonna go for it. If he wants to make something of this fight, he really needs to snipe that battery ASAP. But that battery was just too well protected. I think it's a good thing that he didn't go for it. But now we might just need to recall and make our life a little bit easier. Even though that observer is in the correct spot, at least to deal with these 2 DTs. Is there one more in the main? No. I guess maybe crisis averted as finally one of the oracles does go down. There is a War Prism in the back, but the War Prism gets sniped immediately by the German. And this obviously means that this should be a good fight for saVer as well, as BeNeFiT is no longer able to reinforce this. Taking a little bit of a misclick there as well with the Stalkers. And as Yona once upon a time said, this is going from worse to worse.
Yes, it is. saVer has the proxy gateway set up from the earlier DT harassment. Is getting a Nexus up there as well, which I certainly wasn't expecting, but is kind of a moot point. He is now charging forward. I think he knows that he is very close to victory. And, well, he's just looking to close it on up here, get that 2-0. And, fortunately for BeNeFiT, definitely looks like he's out of luck. No shield battery to help save him here.
No, that's unfortunate. Obviously, saVer still has that pylon in the top left side, which is connected to a gateway as well, so he can actually reinforce his push for days. Perfect timing on those DTs to show up. Right when BeNeFiT just wanted to focus on that fight at the third base, those DTs cause chaos, they cause defensive warp-ins, and that obviously made his initial attack a little bit less intimidating. While otherwise, maybe there was some potential in those Archons. Unfortunately, now I think he has taken a bit too much damage. 17 probes have gone down. DT still going on a rampage in the main base, in the natural. That's pretty much over.
It is. saVer has double forge, has that hidden fourth base, and does still have the army supply lead. I mean, it's close enough that there wasn't economic damage being done. I could see, you know, overextension into a shield battery overcharge, but yeah, even if he does that, it's not going to be too big of a problem. So, unfortunately, those DTs really did just hit you in the gut at the wrong second. Otherwise, I think they themselves, the DTs, did not do a lot of direct damage. The recovery was actually fine. It was the distraction in the front lines, not being able to warp in, that really screwed BeNeFiT over.
It's the worst feeling. You're so ready for your attack. You wonder how you're going to engage, what you want to snipe first, how you're going to micro. And then not one, but 2 DTs show up, 2 different mineral lines. This is a straight up nightmare. BeNeFiT knows it. He is out of luck here in game 2 as well. And the German takes the 2-0 lead. Off the back once more of just some fine Oracle play. I know I sound like a broken record, but I just think Oracles are tricky units. Like actually a unit that does require a lot of skill because of the way they move, the way they glide. So whenever some guys just excel when they're clearly not like pro players all across the board, but for him to control his Oracles the way he did, I honestly think he can be very proud of that. I know that the dive you meant over the 3 Stalkers in the main base, that one was a bit adventurous, but he got away with it.
Yeah. No, exactly, and that's what's most important, right? If you size up that, you know, it's all Gucci, you put him into the corner and you recall him, and then you kind of move on with your life too. I mean, that's also really nice. There's people who panic once they realize that it's not smooth sailing. So it looks like you're gonna change on over here. So I was gonna say that looked like a cleaner game from saVer as well. Like it still ended up being kind of close because it really was the DTs that messed him up, but I felt like that was a little less of an awkward kind of like whoop, from moment one, and then yeah, perhaps if that attack had worked out, that also would look cleaner for his opponent. I'm staring at a welcome sign. My character has been successfully migrated. Select my character.
Switching servers for the first time. If you need some time, we'll figure it out. I can always come up to save as well. I have a lot of accounts that should work.
Yeah, no, it's I'm just gonna choose the trigger one. I don't know what the other one was, so we're just gonna go here.
A lot of people in chat wondering where ZombieGrub is. ZombieGrub is basically, guys, in my old streaming room when I had that shelf with the carrier statue and the picture of Jeff, Todd, Take, and myself at Home Story Cup, and the cool painting of the orc and the zealot. That's the room that ZombieGrub is sitting in right now. I streamed from that room for 2 years. Eventually, I moved to the living room, as you guys can see right now. I think there is an exclamation mark for that still that works. Exclamation mark room. The TLDR is just that room is kind of small, and I spent a lot of time behind my computer, a lot of time. No, wait, they're going without you. Wait.
No, I'm in.
Oh.
I'm trigger.
Oh, you trigger. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, I just wanted some more space. I figured if I spent that amount of time behind my PC, streaming, casting, whatever, why not make myself comfortable and happy in a slightly bigger room? So, she's in the old room. I'm in the living room.
Absolutely. That's probably a good plan, but I gotta say, like, basically any room really works out. It's a very nice apartment.
But you have the one with AC though. So the American gets the one room with air conditioning.
The American has actually been pretty okay without air conditioning. I think I've been very fortunate. As you said, I came in after the temperature dropped.
Well, I'm pretty warm. I have been pretty warm over the last few days. Played a little bit of Padel yesterday with Trigger, and that was actually the coldest day so far in like 2 or 3 weeks. And I was actually sweating after like 5-10 minutes. It was pretty rough. Anyway, guys, we are on the NA server. Let's see if we can prevent that 3-0 in our opening best of 5 tonight. That would make me very happy. In the bottom right side, the German Protoss taking a 2-0 lead with just some solid Protoss play. He said he's 36 years old and he's feeling as nervous as a 12-year-old, but he's doing great so far. This is saVer.
And in the top left, we do have the blue Protoss for Storm. It is BeNeFiT.
Let's hope that the home server advantage does his thing here for him. Both players were very chill on what server to play on. Most of the time we just kind of play on Europe, but obviously if the European takes a 2-0 lead, I was like, yeah, it is East Coast, but we could have gone back forth, but it's always the server switching can be a bit annoying, and if players don't care, then I don't really care. But obviously if the one person with the... Ooh, that's actually a mistake, I think, by saVer, no? To not block that Nexus. Now we have Nexus before Cybercore. But yeah, TLDR, if obviously... the player that's playing cross-server is down, then I always think it's worth switching servers to at least make it a bit more fair.
Yeah, absolutely. I really don't think that BeNeFiT is just so down and out as far as the actual skill difference. Again, the timing of the last game was really quite unfortunate. Without those DTs, we could have had possibly like still been in that game talking about things. And then obviously his DTs, BeNeFiT's DTs, also might have actually been able to do something if they were a little more confident. But the conundrum was really there. Is he paying attention? Is he thinking that I'm not, that he's not, that he, yeah. It just goes on and on. So there's definitely some potential for a bit of a comeback to happen, but saVer does seem to be getting more and more into the groove, and BeNeFiT's, kind of climbing uphill.
It's almost like BeNeFiT gave saVer too much respect, right? Where he's like, he knows about the DTs, he's seen it. It's pointless to walk these boys in. And yeah, sometimes that actually comes back to haunt you. Because if you would have just clicked 2 DTs, one into the main base, one into the natural, then it's chaos immediately. Sure, the oracles were nearby, but if 2 DTs actually reveal themselves on top of probes, you still guarantee yourself 6-7 probe kills at almost every level. It's pretty much inevitable.
Yeah, again, just getting into those probe lines can already cause a decent amount of damage. This is going to be the first time that I think saVer's really committed to a kind of like cutthroat game. The first game, you got that proxy pylon, and it was like, oh, what's this going to be? And it ended up being a proxy oracle, so more on the harassment side. But this is actually going to be full-on committed, trying to break BeNeFiT. I was going to question, coming into game 3, oh, maybe saVer's not really confident in the aggression, but he's showing it here.
Yep, we do really need that battery to finish up. Please do not lose your Stalker before that battery is done, mate. Anything, whatever you do, lose probes, that's not important. But just don't lose your Stalker. Successfully has avoided that. We have saVer gearing up for the 4-gate Blink Stalker all-in of 1 base. I think that Canadian on my right would absolutely approve of that. I know he's a bit of a fan. But sometimes you just have the straight-up 4-gate. And I kind of feel, with how good this initial skirmish went, if this was just straight-up 4-gate, no Blink, no Twilight, I actually think he would be able to break him here. The Blink one hits a lot later, that it just kind of comes down to completely different things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right about that one. Of course, you don't really know until you're in the action, and then you do kind of have a little second of like, if only it would have been much easier. But you are still waiting for a kill move, a power spike. With that Blink done and enough Stalkers to hopefully one-shot the Void Ray, you can really do some damage. I guess there's also a potential for one-shotting the pylon, powering all of the buildings on the front line, which makes me a little worried, so...
Yeah, no, that's scary. That is scary. Even with 2 Void Rays, always get a backup pylon here. Get your tasteless pylon to your toastless pylon, guys. Otherwise, you're playing a risky game. Instead, we're just going to get another battery. I don't hate that. We're even going for Void Ray number 3. I like the battery in the main base, but I kind of wish it would have been a bit further forward. Because you obviously want to fight Stalkers if they do end up blinking in. And it's unlikely to assume that they're going to blink into your mineral line. Don't hate the Zealot either to mess with the Stalkers, but it's still going to be a very, very difficult hold. We've got that Colossus to give us some high ground vision. At least the probe is going to reveal itself. BeNeFiT should not fight before he's got Void Ray number 3. It's so close, ZombieGrub.
Now it's going to be coming in a little bit awkwardly, obviously away from the shield battery. You know, prismatic alignment it's used for a hot second, and then all the Void Rays go down. Third one successfully taken down. Now it is only the gateway units, which are inferior to the Stalkers, and of course probes to help out, which means, well, saVer might have to evacuate for now, but he's opened up some really big opportunities for later.
Yeah, getting all 3 Void Rays there is big. What a shame that we didn't have a single battery overcharge there, right? I feel like that would have been absolutely massive, because with 3 Void Rays, I absolutely do think that he would have been able to defend this successfully. But yeah, you do kind of want to use battery overcharge. I think 1 Void Ray could have absolutely stayed alive a little bit longer. Now, obviously, saVer is not 100% there yet. He needs to make sure he doesn't do something silly. But he's not doing silly stuff. He blinks forward, gets on top of the Stalkers. And it seems that BeNeFiT in his final weekend before joining the US Navy, and he won't be able to play Stalker for a while, is not going to be able to get a W here tonight as the Germans get him again, ZombieGrub.
Yeah. There's a joke in there that I feel very uncomfortable making in Europe, but... yeah. No, BeNeFiT, unfortunately, not going to be able to stand up to the aggression. That was the first time we really saw such dedicated aggression, so it's hard to say if BeNeFiT was also a little weak to that. But I think it's also just that saVer, you know, got that confidence boost, he got the nerves shaken out, and just every game kind of felt cleaner from him too. And then it was BeNeFiT just kind of playing the same game, which is fine, but obviously the third game was an all-in, and that just that changed it up. Couldn't even get his momentum going.
Good timing, obviously, on that first Blink Stalker attack in the main base, because it's a lot more difficult if all 3 Void Rays are together. Now it was a bit awkward for the defender with 2 Voids on the left and then 1 on the right. And you could see that he didn't want to just activate Prismatic Alignment on all 3. But honestly, that would have been a fine play, actually. Because then I think he has a lot of DPS, and he probably would have killed a few more Stalkers. But he kind of wanted to wait, wanted to make sure that saVer wanted to commit to the fight. But by the time that he realized saVer was committing to the fight and wanted to kill those Voids, it was kind of too late to get a lot of value out of it. So, unfortunately, ZombieGrub, I have failed you, I have failed the people, I have failed Basilisk, and we do have a trio. But I still thought these 2 nerds were pretty evenly matched, and honestly, with a bit of work, I could see BeNeFiT getting the best of saVer one day.
Yeah, I think you give them another best of 5 immediately afterwards, and both of them have their nerves kind of calmed down, and they both kind of figured each other out a little bit more, because that's the aspect that we talk a lot about for the pros, but, you know, you might recognize someone on ladder in the 5,000s. Would also impact a lot there, but the momentum was gathered, and delivering the final blow with an all-in was actually a very nicely played out best of 5.
Kind of funny how the chat prediction was spot on, dead on, 50%, 50%. So at least the people at home thought it was going to be close as well. I'm going to go ahead and fire up our second prediction of the night immediately. This is going to be a PvT once more between Europe and America. I didn't even plan this, ZombieGrub. I didn't even know that you were going to cast this with me, but I've had Ashbringer basically spamming me for the last 12 weeks. Rotti, can I play? Rotti, can I play? Rotti, can I play? When can I play? Why does Cuckoo play all the time? And I was like, all right, mate, I'll get you a series. And I actually forgot about him 1 week, so I felt kind of guilty. And I was like, who would be a good match for Ashbringer that I don't get to see every Monday in the weekly? And I was like, you know what? Let's get Foxer back, because Foxer has played once before and actually had a very strong showing. I think it was a 3-1 victory over the Dutch Protoss Hydra. I don't know if you're that familiar with him, but a super nice guy as well. But Fox's TVP looked good. So I actually think this is going to be a very fun and interesting best of 5. And I have no idea who's the favorite.
Yeah, no, I actually was kind of excited for this one in particular. Foxer delivers on a lot of the qualifiers for North America and America events. I'm like, this guy's actually pretty good, but let's see how it looks, because you can never know with the North American players. And then he'll like really pop off and really look quite strong, especially versus Protoss. So I think if it's evenly matched, we can go ahead and split it down the middle, and I can be biased for the American, and you can be biased for the European.
Yeah, but I really like Foxes, so I feel kind of guilty if I have to cheer against him. The way we're going to do this, guys, we're going to take a little break so ZombieGrub can get a drink and a snack. I'm going to go ahead and grab myself a drink as well, because I forgot mine in front of the TV, and I wanted to ask Trigger to bring me a drink, but I was like, nah, I can't do him dirty like that. Rainer, I would absolutely tell Rainer, but Trigger, I was like, no, we're not going to do that yet. Say again?
My legs don't work.
Trigger also says that his legs don't work because we didn't actually play Padel yesterday, guys. I showed Trigger how to play Padel, but apparently that was already a very intense workout. He says he's dead, but it's all good, guys. We're going to take a tiny break. I'll play a song for you guys, and in a couple minutes we'll be back with a fun PvT between two guys around 5.8k, 5.9k MMR. PvT, Foxer versus Ashbringer. We'll see you guys soon.